Good morning, it's day 25. It is a Saturday morning, about 8 o'clock. This morning I'm headed to the Air Force Museum down in Dayton, Ohio. It's a huge complex of hangars with aircraft in them. It's been a number of years since I've been there, so I'm eager to get back and take a look. The ride this morning is about an hour and 15 minutes or so. And mid-afternoon I'll have to leave the museum in order to get to my campground north of Columbus, Ohio. I had trouble finding anything close to the Air Force Museum last night because so many of the campgrounds are showing as full this weekend. So I had to expand my scope and found one eventually north of Columbus, which is in the correct direction. It's northeast heading towards home, but it is a couple-hour ride. Ohio farm fields in the morning. Small town USA. How many of these have I gone through? Nice little town. There are a lot of them across the United States. National Museum of the United States Air Force. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. 4 huge hangars, and then they had aircraft outside. This flag flew on the USS St. Louis at Pearl Harbor during the Japanese attack, December 7, 1941. This museum is so large that I'm only going to be able to see a small piece of it. I think it's got over 1 million square feet of exhibit space. I'm in the World War II section. This is a P-36 that was obsolete by the time World War II began, but they used it in the beginning for fighting and then eventually for training. This is the first ace of World War II for the United States. Lloyd D. Buzz Wagner. Looking up into the Bombay, the B-18 Bolo. That is a German Enigma machine, 3-rotor. Very cool. The B-25 was used on the Tokyo raid by Doolittle and the crew. It's the first attack on Japan after Pearl Harbor. It's a B-24D. It's a B-24 ball turret. Look how small. And this is the famous Memphis Belle, immortalized in a movie. It's the first heavy bomber to return to the United States after 25 missions over Europe. It's put on display here in May of 2018. Looking up into the Bombay of Memphis Belle. This is the famous A-36A Mustang. And equally famous is the British Spitfire that won the Battle of Britain. This is a German 109. Very famous aircraft. And this is a P-38 twin engine. So that is cool. I've always loved that airplane. It has 2 drop tanks, 9 bomber escort missions. And it's got the twin tails. The P-51 Mustang. This museum has them all. Not quite as sexy, but still important. Cargo 47, C-47. And that is a CG-4A glider used to carry troops and dropped behind enemy lines, especially notable during D-Day. And this is the B-26 Marauder, an example of what a parachutist wore during the D-Day invasion. Major General Matthew Ridgway's uniform, commander of the 82nd Airborne. This is a German V-2 rocket. This is the Messerschmitt 262, the first operational jet fighter aircraft. This is the Focke-Wulf 190D. And that is the P-47. The P-47 was a fighter bomber, had 8 50 caliber machine guns. Here are 4 of them on one wing. This is Boxcar, the B-29 that dropped the second atomic bomb on Japan, on Nagasaki. It was brought here in 1961. Alright, I've switched halls. This is the hall for early flight. This is an exacting reproduction of the 1909 Wright military flyer. It's equipped with an engine donated by Orville Wright. This is a SPAD 7 used in World War I by the famed American volunteers of the French Lafayette Escadrille. Restored back in 1962 to 1966, used by the Americans when they were fighting with the French, but before the United States got into the war. It shoots through the propeller, so it has an interrupter machine gun, so the machine gun bullets don't hit the propeller. This is the Newport 28 used by the American Expeditionary Forces, the AEF. This is a SPAD 13, which the Americans used extensively once they entered World War I. And this one's painted in the format used by Eddie Rickenbacker, the famous American ace. It's an original SPAD 13 that's been refurbished. This is a Hawker Hurricane, which is also used in the Battle of Britain. The B-52 is unmistakable with the 8 engines. Huge wingspan. What a plane. spacesuit was worn by Gordo Cooper, May 1963, aboard Mercury. This was used by Mike Collins on board Apollo 11, July 1969. They have several models of the Air Force One here. This Air Force One has carried 8 sitting presidents and did carry the body of John F. Kennedy in 1963 from Texas back to Washington, D.C. after his assassination. This is Columbine 3, used by Eisenhower, basically as Air Force One. This is a Gulfstream Aerospace C-20B. They carried Clinton, Carter, Ford, and George H.W. Bush. This aircraft is called the Independence. And you may have guessed it with the props and the fact that it's a presidential aircraft. And it's called the Independence, named after Harry S. Truman. Flew it in 1947, I think, was the first flight. This is Franklin Delano Roosevelt's aircraft called the Sacred Cow, the Douglas VC-54C. Here we go, off to camp. A little less than 2 hours of riding. Beautiful sunny day, low 80s. That is obviously world class. I finally got off the expressway. Got about 20 minutes to go. 4:12 in the afternoon. I figure if I'm at camp by 5 or 5:15, I'll be doing pretty well. The traffic around Columbus was pretty intense. Multi-lane, lots of trucks, speeding cars, lots of noise. It's good to get out here in the countryside a little bit, get away from that. Mount Gilead State Park.